Hey everyone, Adam Wong. I'm the editor of The Fifth Person, an award-winning investment site. So if you're always struggling to look for your investment ideas and you don't know where your next investment opportunity is going to come from, then this video is exactly what you're looking for. So if you're ready to dive right in, let's just begin.
All right, Adam with you once again. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to look for investment ideas. All right. So one of the best places you can look for investment ideas is at work. All right. So for example, if you're a dentist, all right, and at work, you're probably familiar with some of these dental brands like Straumann, Align, Dentsply, Henry Schein. So Straumann deals with dental implants. All right, so if you're a periodontist, you may be very familiar with Straumann. If you're an orthodontist, you will probably know about Align because they are the company that deals with clear aligners to straighten your teeth. All right, and then Dentsply deals with like dental equipment and dental supplies, so on and so forth. So as a dentist, you're already familiar with these products in your day-to-day work. All right, you know which companies give you the best products, which give you the best service, which one has a big market share. So when you look at these companies, you already have an informational advantage when it comes to looking at these companies because you're familiar with them, use them on a daily basis. All right. So if you're a dentist, take a look at what you use every day in your clinic. All right. So this is one example. If you're a programmer or you're in the IT line or you deal with computers on a daily basis, once again, you can have a look at the stuff you do every single day. And some of the things that you do, some of the products and services that you use come from listed companies. So some of the big brands here are like Microsoft, NVIDIA deals with graphics cards, Seagate deals with hard disk drives, Symantec, Logitech. So even then, as consumers, we're familiar with them. But as you know, if this is right smack in your line of work, once again, you're going to be very familiar with these companies and their products, and that will give you a huge advantage. When you're doing your research, you have to spend a lot less time to understand these companies because you're already familiar with their products. So this will give you an informational advantage. So the workplace is a great place for ideas. Another great place for ideas is when you're out shopping. So for example, when you go do your grocery shopping and you go into the store, these are some of the companies that are selling you all that food stuff. Like for example, like PepsiCo, they can just sell you Pepsi. They also deal, they're one of the biggest food companies in the world as well. They are the company behind Lay's potato chips, for example. Everyone's familiar with Coca-Cola, so they deal with Coca-Cola and all the other drinks under the Coca-Cola brand as well. And then Kraft Heinz is one of the biggest food companies as well. And then of course, if you go to Costco to shop, because it's a great place to get stuff for cheap, Costco itself is a listed company as well. And they've been doing really, really well over the last 10, 20 years. So once again, when you're out shopping, have a look at the companies behind the brands when you're shopping and find out if those companies are actually listed on the stock exchange. All right. Once again, when you go to a mall, same thing. There are a lot of brands, a lot of shops out there that, come from companies that are listed on the stock exchange. So for example, Starbucks is a listed company. When you go there for a cup of coffee, Starbucks is listed, all right? And again, if you go to a Disney store and you buy all those toys or clothes for your kids, Disney is a listed company as well. And they don't just deal with toys. They're the company behind all the Marvel movies. They're behind Pixar movies. And they're a really, really big company as well. They're into theme parks as well, okay? If you love to shop at Zara, Inditex is the company behind Zara, and they're one of the biggest fast fashion companies in the world. Okay, of course, if you love to shop at Target, Target's a listed company, and of course, when you're buying all your stuff, you have to pay for them, right? And you pay for them using your credit card. Visa is a listed company, and it's been one of the best performing stocks for one of the longest times, along with Mastercard. So it's a great company with a huge economic moat. Visa is a great investment idea. You can look at it as well. All right, another place to look for investment ideas is through the financial news. All right, so stuff like The Economist, or CNBC, New York Times, Financial Times. These are obviously great source for information. All right, so a lot of times you will notice headlines that will stick out at you. For example, this stock has popped like 20% because they released earnings and they did really, really well. So that's the good news. And what I really like to look out for is the bad news. All right, so when you see a headline that screams like a lot of fear and panic and this stock has like crashed because of this scandal or something, remember Facebook, that's a great time to actually have a look at that article and actually read about what happened. All right, because if that piece of bad news is actually just a temporary thing and the company's long-term fundamentals are still intact and it should recover from this particular setback that they have, that's a great time to do a bit of research and find out if this is worth as an investment, all right, if there's an opportunity right there. So I like to look for, overall, the market, there's a lot of news about the market and what's happening all the time, but what I really like to look for is the bad news. All right, another place that you can look for ideas is to follow the big boys. So like the gurus and the big name investors, they give you a lot of ideas because these guys have been doing this for a long time, and they're the big guys. All right, they should know what they're doing. So one of the most famous investors in the world is Warren Buffett. All right, so everyone knows this guy, but it's not just him. There's also people like Ray Dalio, John Paulson, Seth Klarman, Bill Ackman, Carl Icahn. So these are famous names in the industry, and their transactions can be found publicly as well. So for example, if you're interested in Warren Buffett's transactions, what he's buying and selling, you can actually have a look at sec.gov. Okay, so he's required by law to actually file his transactions whenever he does them. Okay, but then the sec.gov is a bit a bit of a labyrinth to navigate. You can always go to a site like gurufocus.com where they compile all the transactions for you in a way that's easy to understand and have a look at. So for example, this is Warren Buffett's transactions over a period of time, and you can see he's dealing with the Bank of America or Amazon, JP Morgan, so on and so forth. So these will give you some great investment ideas and what Warren Buffett really is looking at, so what he likes and what he doesn't like, what he's buying and selling. So this will give you some really good ideas. Now, one thing about following the big boys is you want to make sure that you don't blindly follow them, because they could have very different risk profiles from you. Their investment rationale for buying or selling the stock could be very different from yours. All right, so this is just a place to look for ideas, but don't just buy a stock just because a big name is buying it. You want to make sure you do your research that that a stock actually suits your risk profile and your portfolio as well. All right, and one of the best places to look for ideas is through stock screeners. So like a stock screener is a place where you can put in all the financial metrics and key ratios that you want a company to meet or exceed, and then the stock screener will go through the entire stock exchange and give you a bunch of companies that actually pass all these criteria. So one place is called finviz.com. You can have a look at this, and this is what it looks like. So you have a lot of metrics that you can play with out there. You have like return on equity, debt over equity, EPS growth, sales growth, so on and so forth. All right, you can just put in what you want. And as you can see over here now, when you don't do any filters, you have over like 7,800 companies out there. Of course, if you're going to go through the entire list of 7,800 companies, it's going to take you a lot of time. So why don't you just save some time, put in some of the metrics that you want, and then this stock screener will just filter all the companies that actually pass all the criteria that you want. So for example, over here, we've just done like a return on equity over 15%, debt to equity below 0.5. We want a gross margin over 70% and net profit margin over 15%, so on and so forth. Okay, and all the other criteria that we have there. And then we just put that in, and the screener will go through the entire list and just pull out the companies that pass these criteria. So you can see we only have 23 companies that pass all these criteria. So you have ALGN, which is Align, if you remember Align. They're the company behind the clear aligners to straighten your teeth. You have Facebook there as well, and Paycom as well. So these are some of the companies that you can immediately look at. You have 23 companies, give you some ideas. Have a look at them, and if they fall within your circle of competence, this is something that you can definitely have a look at to give you more ideas. All right. So just to summarize, these are the 5 ways you can look for ideas at work, when you're out shopping, financial news, and follow big boys, and for stock screeners. Once again, there's so many ways that you can look for ideas out there. You just have to open your eyes a little bit and just look at the products and services that you're using, and see if there's a company behind all the stuff that you're buying. Sometimes it's actually behind a company that is listed on the stock exchange, and it could be your next investment opportunity.
All right, I hope you really liked that video and you really learned something from watching it. So if you're interested to find out more investment ideas and how you can use an investment framework to find and identify the best value growth investments out there in the market, you can go to the Quadrant Strategy. It's a 16-minute webinar. It's entirely free, and I really welcome you to sign up for that and have a listen to how you can use the exact framework that we use ourselves to find the best investment value growth investments out there. All right, so once again, if you really like this video, just put a like, comment if you have any comments, and again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I really hope to see you in our next video.